Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a classic. You may have read it in school at some point. Its titular character, the brilliant Dr. Frankenstein, created a monster that gets loose and causes havoc. Dr. Frankenstein is smart, intelligent enough to have created a construct, the monster in the first place. That may be the case, but he's not very wise, and didn't provide good safety measures or even stop to think if he should create the monster. Today we're talking about intelligence and wisdom. I will mainly be talking about them in the perspective of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, my first RPG. These two ability scores may seem quite similar, the differences between them trivial, but that's not the case. Wisdom. Wisdom is the ability score associated with your intuition and awareness. It has important skills attached to it like perception and insight. It is important for druids and clerics as they draw their power from their connection to and understanding of a higher power, being nature or a deity. Intelligence. Intelligence is the ability score associated with an analytical skill and informational recall. It has important skills attached to it such as investigation and history. It is important for wizards and artificers, which makes sense as their ability draws from the study of magic or knowledge of gadgetry and machinery. Their main differences are that intelligence is for knowing things or facts, while wisdom is more knowing how to do things, although it's a bit more abstract than that. The old tomato example for explaining the ability scores describes them as such. Intelligence is knowing a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing tomato doesn't go in fruit salad. The other main difference is in power and importance in 5th edition. Wisdom is important. It fuels arguably the most important skill in the game, perception. Also, wisdom saves are considered strong saves. Intelligence, on the other hand, doesn't really have a good skill behind it, except maybe investigation. Intelligence is considered a weak save and probably the one you will have to roll the least amount out of all of the saves. I mean, think about it. All the other save types make sense. Strength is breaking free of bonds or a grapple, dexterity is dodging, constitution is overcoming something like poison, wisdom is seeing past illusion or mind-altering magic, and even charisma makes sense defending against something that takes sheer force of will. More on that in a later video. The only one that doesn't make sense is intelligence. When will knowing how many feet the Earth is away from the moon ever help you when you get targeted by magic? Never. This has resulted in intelligence becoming a bit of a dump stat. For simplicity's sake, 5e eliminated the skill rank system and the ability to get additional ranks if you have good intelligence, which helped this problem in older editions. So, thus, most players settle for an average or even subpar intelligence, unless they need it for casting. Not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think any particular ability should be a largely accepted dump stat. My solution might be to reintroduce extra skills granted to players with above average intelligence, as many tables have done. Although, maybe it makes sense that wisdom is more important than intelligence. Knowing facts and being smart is nice, but having the good sense and understanding to overcome whatever is put in front of you is just so much more adaptable. After all, Frankenstein was very intelligent, but not so wise. If you have good intelligence, you know that Frankenstein wasn't the monster, but if you have good wisdom, you know that Frankenstein was the monster. This has been Talking Draconic, a series I'm doing about different TTRPGs, especially D&D.